Yo, what is going on, guys? Coach Dusty here with another video, and in today's video, we're going to be reacting to Jikh's video about Ethereum and his thoughts on how it can get to $10,000 per Ethereum. Now, I've been a heavy investor into Ethereum and Bitcoin since the middle of January, so a little bit over a month now. I have been so consumed with understanding cryptocurrency and its potential to change our lives for the better. Now, there's been a lot of hype around crypto the past 2 months or so, ever since Bitcoin really hit about $40,000. It's been starting to become more mainstream, and it's been on my radar for a couple of years now, and I just never really made the investment into it because it was still things that I was very skeptical about crypto in general. But now I've just been really digging deep into understanding what it is and how it could benefit us in the future. So I've been gathering as much information, watching, smart people, YouTubers, CEOs. Now we have, Elon Musk just invested into Bitcoin. I've been just really involved in it. So I want to bring you guys more content to my channel about crypto. And this video, we're just going to be reacting to, you know, to what these people have to say. I can't really just talk about something I'm not 100%, I don't 100% understand yet. So the best way for me to learn about these topics is to, like I said, watch smart people that have been in the scene for longer than I have. So we're just gonna be reacting to the video. I hope you guys get some value out of it. I'm gonna pause the video every now and then just to kind of talk about my thoughts and my opinions and just react to the video. Let's get right into it.
Did you know that there's a crypto kitty called the Dragon? It's kind of like Pokemon or like, I guess, Neopets. I used to love Neopets back in the day. But this thing is worth 600 Ethereums, or roughly $1.2 million. That's nifty. That's what we're going to talk about today. I don't know what world we're living in, but Ethereum is pretty interesting because I think it's one of the most misunderstood cryptocurrencies out there. Like, crypto by itself is pretty complicated, right? But Ethereum goes to a whole nother level. And in this video, I want to show you why I think the price of Ethereum is going to go to something like $10,000 per coin and even higher relatively soon. So that someday, this thing could be worth $6 million. Worth it. Impossible. Indubitable. No, it's not impossible. This intro is impossible. Check this out. This is called the flippening because cards are flipping everywhere and it looks really cool, but it's not really impossible. This is just me showing off. This is impossible. Card and fan.
Nope. Andre's a beast, Joe. I've been following him for about a little bit over a
Jikh.
year
Hope you're
now.
doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the likening. But jokes aside, I want to say sorry for the clickbait title of this video because I don't think that Ethereum is going to go to $10,000. I think it's gonna go way, way higher, but I didn't want to title this video to $80,000 because that sounds way too unrealistic, and most people wouldn't click on that. But hopefully, I'm gonna prove to you why Ethereum is going to have a way bigger role in our financial futures than most people give it credit for. So then we'll talk about all the ways it's going to get there, we'll talk about the price, and then I'll hopefully give you some balance to my very obviously biased opinion and my love for cryptocurrencies. But Ethereum, like Bitcoin, is a decentralized peer-to-peer medium of exchange. But unlike Bitcoin, we actually know who the creator of Ethereum is. His name is Vitalik Buterin, who's originally from Russia. So hello, Vitalik, say hello to the motherland for me. He doesn't watch my videos, but he's actually very Americanized. But the crazy part is, he was 19 years old when he created Ethereum. So
yo.
he's basically a genius. And one of the things people don't really understand about Ethereum is the fact that it is arguably one of the biggest threats to Amazon, which I know is a huge claim to make, but Ethereum is not really a cryptocurrency per se. It's more like the internet. The easiest way to describe what Ethereum is and how it works is to sort of describe how AWS from Amazon works. So AWS is Amazon's web services, and that's sort of an all-in-one solution. It's cloud-based, it's private, and it makes it easy for businesses to start an online business, which I don't know if you've ever started an online business before, but besides getting a license like I had to do with my LLC when I started my YouTube channel, there's a lot of other things that you don't have to worry about anymore thanks to AWS. This includes things like computing power, database storage, hosting fees for servers, for websites, for uploading digital content to, the coding of all of this. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And AWS sort of democratized our ability to create an online business from anywhere in the world. Because of Amazon and AWS though, over 120 companies from the S&P 500 actually use it. And these aren't tiny companies. I'm talking about billion-dollar companies
I didn't even know
like
about
Netflix,
this.
Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and many others that actually use it. But here's the catch. AWS is private. It's owned by Amazon, which means you get to pay Amazon, which means technically Amazon gets to make the rules, and at any point it can just shut you off. Ethereum is AWS, except it is decentralized and it can recreate the exact same infrastructures without needing the permissions from Amazon. And that has lent itself to creating these new creative industries that are being built on top of Ethereum, which in the future is obviously going to increase the market cap and therefore the price of the coin. So let me just show you some really interesting fundamental metrics that I like to look at.
We're gonna have to deal with some ads, guys. Hope you guys don't mind. We'll fast forward.
So relative to Bitcoin, Ethereum is extremely undervalued in my opinion. When I say my opinion, I mean in my totally non-licensed, non-professional kind of a way, but this is super cool and I don't see a lot of people talking about this, about the price of Ethereum. So if we take a look at the market cap of Ethereum, which is all the money that's in that space, we can see it's roughly $220-ish billion. If we compare that to Bitcoin, that has a $1 trillion market cap roughly, which means Ethereum is about 5 times smaller by this metric. What's interesting is that one of the key metrics of good money is acceptability and or usability, which means you and I actually have to transact and be able to use this money and exchange it rather than just hold on to it like a collectible. Now, there's a lot of websites that show this data, but if you go to blockchair.com/Bitcoin, you can see that in the last 24 hours, we have had roughly 313,000 transactions on the Bitcoin network. Now, that's a lot. By this metric, Ethereum should have about 1/5 of the transactions, right? Because the market cap is smaller, it's a little bit less popular, so that kind of makes sense. Now, if we look at blockchair.com/Ethereum, we can see that in the last 24 hours, Ethereum has had 1.3 million transactions. That's a 4x increase over Bitcoin. That's weird. There's more activity and more velocity that's happening on the Ethereum network, which means more people are using Ethereum than Bitcoin.
And as you guys can tell, just based off of everything that's been going on social media, that crypto is becoming more mainstream. There's a lot more retail investors getting involved, including myself. Like, I couldn't even imagine myself investing into crypto a year ago. So it's just, if people like myself are getting involved, there is just many more people like myself that are starting to become more aware of it. And there's people that might be aware of it, but just haven't even considered or haven't even bought anything yet. They haven't invested. I'm definitely someone who's very risk oriented. I'm not afraid to make some not even gambles, make some investments that I truly do believe in. I mean, I really do believe in this. So it's like, I know that there's more retail investors getting involved, and on top of the retail investors, there's more and more corporations, big corporations that are beginning to become more aware. And a big company like Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin just shows that there's a lot more money that's getting poured into it. So I think we're still really, really young into this space, and like I said, I'm just absorbing as much knowledge as I possibly can. So I hope you guys are interested in cryptocurrency as well, because there's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna be doing this more often, guys. I like watching these videos.
Bitcoin. So now let's take a look at the entire network and see the speed with which our transactions get confirmed every time we exchange and use this money. So if we look at Bitcoin, there are 2 transactions per second happening on Bitcoin. So let's compare that to Ethereum.
That's crazy.
21 transactions per second. That is a 10-fold increase. Now, I know there are a ton of other cryptocurrencies that put those numbers to shame, but remember, none of them are as popular or secure as Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're not comparing apples to apples, and I'll explain what this means for the price in just a moment, but we are, again, creating the internet all all over again. And since the creation of Google or Amazon, Ethereum is building industries on top of itself. It's like, if we're thinking about the big picture universe visualization here, on this
NFTs
scale of the
huge
universe,
right now.
Bitcoin is like a massive galaxy. It's creating entire star systems and stars, which are huge companies having huge impacts on the world. On this scale, Ethereum is like the universe, and that it's creating entire galaxies in and of itself. I know that sounds crazy, but so does all theoretical physics. But let me just show you some real world specific examples that Ethereum is doing right now that not only it's creating, but it's going to swallow, which is going to boost its market cap into the stratosphere. This is gonna get really complicated, but please bear with me. I promise I'm gonna tie everything together. It's gonna be worth it. So one of the industries that Ethereum sort of pioneered and created and is gonna envelop is something called NFTs or NFTs. Non-fungible tokens. No, it's non-fungible tokens. So what that means is that these tokens are not the same. That's all fungibility means. It's just money that is the same. These tokens are unique. They're not the same, and they're also not divisible. Like, I could send you Bitcoin and you can send somebody else 0.0001 of that Bitcoin. NFTs are non-divisible. And the reason that they have value is because they represent something that is rare and sought after, usually in the digital or virtual world. But they're not limited to that. So one of the best and easiest ways I can describe to you how NFTs work is by showing you my Pokemon collection. One second. So when I reached 1 million subscribers here on YouTube, I treated myself to $25,000 worth of base set Pokemon packs. This is my childhood, this is my nostalgia. And I actually pulled a Nidoking, I got an Alakazam, I've got a Gyarados, I've got a Charizard, and 2 Magnetons. But let's not talk about those. That was a painful experience. So some people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for what you could argue is essentially pieces of paper. So it seems silly, right? But NFTs take that to another level.
Here comes Greg with your organic carrots. He credits sun, good soil, and a little something he just won't tell.
So NFTs are like the digital versions of art. So here's a really interesting application. Imagine an artist like Banksy, right? Who's a very famous graffiti artist whose artwork sells for insane amounts of money. Or somebody like Mitsuhiro Arita, who designed this exact Charizard card. And imagine he issues an NFT, a non-fungible token that is the digital equivalent of this card, where people can buy and bid for exclusive digital rights to this same card. And this is not just like a concept. The biggest nifty sale was worth $777,777 for a complete collection by an artist named Beeple. So after you bought that, you actually even got like a physical case, came with these tokens that you can then verify in the blockchain. Super cool concept. But if you think about what people are buying in this case, it's literally nothing more than a JPEG or a GIF on the computer that literally anybody can just copy, drag to their desktop, and they own the exact same thing. But what they can't copy are the digital rights. So let's go one step further. Imagine owning a meme, something like Neon Cat that you see on screen right now. I know anyone can just post a video of it or a JPEG or a GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? I don't know. Choosing mothers choose GIF. We'll go with that. And what is it worth to have the exclusive bragging rights to say to the world, no, I know you can post a picture of it, but I alone own the exclusive rights to be able to show that to anybody, because on the blockchain you can verify my identity that I bought that from the creator. What is that worth? Clearly over $1 million, which is why this crypto kitty exists and it's worth over $1 million. There's a market demand for that and people want to spend the money. But the combined value between the market cap of the collectibles and art markets is something like $72 billion. I'm not saying that Ethereum is going to capture 100% market share of that, but this is like the digital equivalent of that, and we have no idea how high it's going to go. This is just the start of the revolution, but it's not even limited to just the collectibles and art market, because this can also be given to something like video games. Imagine companies issuing rare in-game items. Like, what is it worth to have the Santa hat from RuneScape? I don't know, something, right? What is it worth to have the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, 1 of 100? It's gotta be worth something as well. What about the Masamune Blade from Sephiroth, 1 of 1?
He's such a fucking
It's gotta be worth a lot of money.
I love
it's
it though.
So interesting. None of us have any idea how high it's gonna go, but that's not limited to just that. Imagine companies from the S&P 500 or sports teams issuing their own merchandise, their own digital equivalents of baseball caps and shoes and shirts and whatever.
And what I love about cryptocurrencies, it's so futuristic, but we're starting to see it really impact the world in art in the 21st century now. It's like we're starting to see it come to life more, and I'm not sleeping on it any longer. Like I I was very skeptical a couple of years ago, but now that I'm starting to see more and more people get involved, I want to ride the wave, and I want this to be a part of my future. Like I want to be able to look back and say, wow, I'm glad I took that investment, and I'm glad I bought up a bunch of Bitcoin and Ethereum when I was 24 years old, and I'm gonna be able to look back at this and be like, wow, I'm making a whole bunch of money, and it's like, wow, I'm glad I put my money where my mouth is. So I'm just gonna continue to do more and more research and just get involved in the scene. I got a conference coming up. I booked a conference to Miami. I'm going to Bitcoin 2021 in Miami, June 3rd through the 4th. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue to learn more and more. I love it. Keep
What is
going.
all that
Still got another
worth?
10 minutes of
I mean,
video,
I
guys.
honestly have no idea, but it's a new frontier that we've just created, and you can be sure that Ethereum, now that it's at the forefront of that, is going to be increased in terms of market cap and value significantly over the years to come. But arguably, the biggest contributing factor to its market cap is something called DAOs, which is actually where you can buy these nifty tokens, or nifties, NFTs. That would be redundant, non-fungible tokens. It's called DAOs, and it's kind of like the entire premise of Ethereum, but you can actually buy nifties or NFTs on top of DAOs. No, Ethereum does not end. It is so complicated. There's so many acronyms. It's like its own little language. So let me break it down. The D in DAO stands for decentralized. So unlike a private entity or a company that's owned by the CEO and its founders and members of the board, instead, these are entities that are owned by the users because they're issued tokens that they hold that are secured by the Ethereum blockchain. And this isn't some crazy weird concept or theoretical thing that exists. This is a real thing that's out there that you can go to right now. There's entities like
I own my business. I own my successes and the lessons I've learned in the process. I own my pitfalls and my passions. I own what makes me powerful.
Rarible, OpenSea, Super Rare, which are basically marketplaces like an eBay that you can go to right now and just use. It exists. It's not an actual company. It doesn't have employees. It's just a platform that you can just use. It's a decentralized eBay. It's super cool. Then we've got the A, which is the autonomous part. So kind of like Tesla, autonomous driving, this is a self-governing entity. So think about it like this. Instead of a corporation that's run by members of the board where people vote to do things, right? It's not at all like that. Instead, this is self-governing because it is run by the code that was used to launch these entities to begin with, right? You can't really change the code once you've launched it unless it's in the code, but there's nobody that's making these decisions. It's kind of just run by itself by the code that was written. And then we have the O in DAO, which is organizations, which means organizations, which could be really anything, whether that's a website or a fleet of self-driving cars or an eBay-like marketplace. It doesn't really matter. And one of the best applications of these DAOs, besides the NFTs we talked about with digital art, is something called DeFi. Now, all of this is going to send the market cap again into the stratosphere. DeFi is decentralized finance. So it's really easy to understand, but imagine the traditional banking system turned on its head. So all the things we use banks for, loans, interest, that's what DeFi is coming after. Except the biggest problem that it's really trying to solve is to get rid of the middleman. And here's a really good example of that. It's called yield farming. So yield farming is when you stake. Remember, staking just means locking up your money for a predetermined amount of time into a smart contract. So imagine staking our money into a mining pool to give them the liquidity, which in return we would get interest for. So I know I just said a lot of fancy words that probably don't mean anything, but it's really easy to understand. Remember when we found out that Robinhood was selling our order flow through to Citadel? Citadel is sort of like the middleman. Now, Citadel plays a really important role because it provides liquidity to the market. It's the market maker. All that means is that they flood the market with the stocks we want to buy. Without those guys, if there's fewer stocks to exchange, the prices with which we buy stocks for would wildly fluctuate a lot. So, for example, if I wanted to buy a Tesla stock, and let's say there was only like 10 stocks in the stock market and I wanted to own one or two, the price I would buy at and the price you would buy at a week later would wildly fluctuate like a crazy amount, just because there's not a lot of them out there. So now they're valued in different contexts. But by flooding the market with a lot of them, it stabilizes the price. It's kind of a simple explanation of how it works. So it's kind of like the oil, the grease that makes the system work smoothly and quickly. That's Citadel. But we don't need Citadel. We can be the market maker ourselves. So imagine we stake Ethereum or our NFT nifty tokens basically into the market by allowing people to trade. So we are locking up money, we're giving them the liquidity so that people can make those trades easier and quicker, and in return, we get the interest. So that way, we actually become Citadel. So that's yield farming, and by extent, DeFi. All right, so let me just add everything up, and I'm gonna use really, really rough math, and I'm gonna be really conservative here. So Ethereum's current market.
That was really interesting, you know, guys. It's important to learn this stuff because
Market cap,
you know,
$200 billion.
the more you learn, the
roughly,
more you
right?
earn, yo.
Now, all the
So
other
true.
stuff that these DAOs, these decentralized autonomous organizations, are coming after, one of the applications is DeFi, which is coming after the banking industry. In 2020, the banking industry was worth something like $6.2 trillion. Now, let's add up all the other stuff that we talked about. NFTs, Nifties, digital art, which I really have nothing to compare against because that's just a brand new thing that's being created recently. But let's just assume it's roughly the equivalent of the physical art market cap, which is something like $70 billion. And let's add that up to the gaming industry, which I think Ethereum is going to play a pretty huge role in the digitization of rare items and rare real estate and whatever it is. And the market cap of the gaming industry today is something like $170 billion. So all of those combined are worth roughly $250 billion, which we will then add to the 6.2 trillion, which gives us 6.45 trillion. But so my brain doesn't explode, I'm just gonna round up to $6.5 trillion. So that's what we have. Now, obviously Ethereum is not gonna capture the entire $6.5 trillion market cap that I'm talking about. It's gonna maybe get to 10% of that. I use 10% as the benchmark because just recently, Bitcoin achieved 10% of gold's market cap. Gold's market cap was $10 trillion and Bitcoin just got to $1 trillion. And I do think that Ethereum will capture at least 10% of everything we talked about. I think it's gonna do way more,
so if
but let's just be really conservative.
10%
of $6.5 trillion is $650 billion. So the difference between the $200 billion that it's at now and the $650 is roughly a triple X price difference, which means that would boost the price of Ethereum per coin to something like $6,000. But that's not the full picture. Because Ethereum is also competing with Bitcoin. It also wants to be something like a digital gold and a store of value, and it wants to be a currency in and of itself. But the currency market, M2, the global physical monetary supply, is worth trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. That's way too complicated to think about, so I'm just gonna throw out a huge factor right out of the equation, but I think it's gonna play some role. So that leaves us with gold. Gold's market cap is 10 trillion, and I do think that Ethereum, like Bitcoin, will someday capture 10% of the market cap of gold as well. I don't see why it wouldn't. There's really zero reasons why it wouldn't get there. That's an additional $1 trillion market cap added to its current market cap. That represents a 5 times price increase, which would boost the price of Ethereum to $10,000, not counting the other $6,000. So that would mean the conservative price estimate for me is between $6,000 to something like $16,000 in the short term, which is something like 2 to 3, maybe 5 years out. So it's kind of an exciting time, but I own both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I love both. But as far as the potential of what the world will see, I think Ethereum is really gonna play a really, really big role. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think is gonna happen.
All right, guys. That's gonna do it for the video. Basically, like I said, I want to just continue to bring more and more content and content creators that I enjoy watching and that I learn from onto my channel, because maybe you guys have never heard of some of these YouTubers. So I did a video about Meet Kevin. I did a video of the Winklevoss twins who own the cryptocurrency exchange called Gemini, and now we're doing this reaction of Andre. So yeah, I'm just gonna, like I said, continue to bring more and more cryptocurrency content onto the channel, and yeah, we're gonna learn, and we're gonna be going on this journey together. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and until next time, this has been your boy Coach Dusty. I'm out. Peace.